Hello, this is Rick Mascaro, Executive Director at Lakeshore Center for the Arts in Westfield, New York. Welcome to our Reader's Theater presentations of the 20 semifinal plays of our Juicebox One-Act Play Competition. Over the past 10 months, the competition has narrowed from approximately 200 entries to the following 20 semifinalist plays, including 10 comedies and 10 dramas. Each of these plays are being performed by the Lakeshore Center for the Arts Reader's Theater Ensemble. We hope you enjoy the presentations, and we invite your feedback. Today, tomorrow, the rest of my life. Playwright Lee Franklin. It's beautiful, bordering on erotic, the clinking sounds in the glass. Two perfectly formed ice cubes falling from just the right height, landing so as not to break. The base of the glass is just the right weight, as it fits like so perfectly in your hand. 18-year-old pouring in smooth rivulets from a vintage Thomas decanter, swirling, surrounding, enveloping the ice, as 86 proof meets the cold in complete and utter rapture. And here it sits in all its splendor, beckoning, pleading with me to come inside its warmth once again. I'm an alcoholic. Today, tomorrow, for the rest of my life. I've been sober 364 days, 24 hours, 44 minutes, and 50 seconds. In just a few minutes, it will be 1 year of sobriety. And honestly, I don't know if I can make it. Maybe you can help me. Maybe if I could explain why. I was born David Christopher Blaine to parents Howard and Arlene. They were good people. Dad worked in the local brass mill and Mom taught 5th grade English. Middle-class folks. Anything but pretentious. I was told by Mom and Dad that I was a good baby. I didn't fuss. I wasn't colicky. I slept through the night. Come to think of it, wouldn't that be something now to sleep through the night? Oh, how I wished. I digress. When I was 4 years old, my sister Amanda was born, and I loved her with all my heart right from the beginning. Our childhood was filled with laughter and games. There were toys and, oh my God, the stuffed animals. Her favorite was this pink elephant she named Ellie. My favorite was Gus, the panda bear. I wonder where, doesn't matter anyway. But my sister Mandy, beautiful hazel brown hair, big puppy brown eyes, smooth alabaster skin. We were two peas in a pod. We talked like each other. We walked like each other. We loved to do the same things together. She was my soulmate, and so full of life. We could tease each other mercilessly and chase one another around the house until Mom and Dad would blow a gasket. And we'd pretend to be remorseful, of course, but underneath, well, we found it hard to hold back the giggles. And for that, we found ourselves standing in corners facing walls as our consequence, suppressing our giggles as we did. We were as tight as could be, the two of us. I was her big brother, her knight, her protector. She was my Mandy. And we thought that nothing could tear us apart until it did. It was one of those clear, starlit winter nights in New England. It had turned cold again after a few unseasonably warm days. There'd been a light snow earlier in the evening, and as I looked out my bedroom window in my pajamas, the full moon cast a shimmering, iridescent light over the landscape. I could feel her warmth as she sat down next to me. Once again, Mandy had snuck into my bedroom, as she often did after Mom and Dad went to bed, and we sat together quietly for a few moments, transfixed by the scene outside. Then, at the exact moment we looked at each other, and without so much as a word, we knew what we wanted to do. You see, there there was this pond. There was this pond nearby our house where she and I loved to skate. Mom and Dad would never know. After all, they were asleep down the hall. So we got dressed and ever so quietly tiptoed out of our room. Once downstairs, we bundled up in our winter jackets, our pants, our hats, and boots, closed the front door behind us, and set out with our skates slung over our shoulders. We laughed as we ran, stopping only to try and outdo each other, making snow angels in the fluffy whiteness. When we reached the pond, we could see that the dusting had covered the ice like a thin blanket, and it seemed as if the fallen snowflakes danced and glittered in the bright moonlight. She laced up first, took off before me, and I watched as the snow swirled up around her, and she skated in the middle of the pond. Once there, she turned back and yelled at me, "What's wrong with you, Mr. Clumsy? Don't you know how to tie your skates?" I was getting ready to yell something back, but then I heard a sound, an awful, otherworldly sound. And I saw her face, clear as could be in the moonlight, and it had this look of surprise, of bewilderment. She looked down and around her and then back up at me. And when I'm sure it was barely above a whisper, I heard her say, "David." And then she disappeared from sight. God, she fell through the ice. There was a century of complete and utter silence. I didn't know what to do. And then she surfaced and she yelled, "Help! Help me, David!" And I yelled back, "I'll come out to you. I'm coming. I'm coming." With one skate fully laced and the other loosely tied, I half skated, I half scrambled to within about 20 feet of her, and she kept yelling, "David, David, I can't get out. It's so cold. It's so cold." "I'll get you, Mandy. I'll get you. Just hold on." But I had to stop. I heard crackling beneath me. I couldn't see it because of the light snow cover, but I could feel myself start to sink. And then I panicked. I fell back and felt a rush of cold water on my legs and back. All I could think was, I can't die here. I can't die here. I was somehow able to turn over on my stomach, and I began to crawl as best I could back toward the shore. All the time, hearing my sister cry my name, "David, help me! Don't go, help me, David, please!" Listen to this. I don't want to die. I need to save myself. "David, no, 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 don't let me drown." God. Somehow, some way, I made it back to shore totally out of breath, and all I could do was burst out crying. Through the haze of my tears, her calls to me began to sound muffled and distant, and I yelled to her, "I'll be back, Mandy. I'll go get Dad. I'll be back." "No, David, don't leave me, David." "I have to. I need to get Dad." I threw off my skates and didn't stop to put my boots on. I ran like I'd never run before back to the house. I could still hear her distant cries as I ran. I'll never, ever forget the sound. I got back to the house and I ran upstairs. "Dad! Dad, help! Help! Mandy broke through the ice and she can't get out." Dad and I raced back together, and I didn't hear her anymore, even though we both called out her name several times as we ran. When we got to the edge of the pond, we could see the hole in the middle of the ice where Mandy had fallen through. All that was there in the moonlight was a slight rippling in the water. She was nowhere to be seen. My dad got down on all fours and crawled out as best he could until he could go no further. I saw him slump down. He was gasping for breath. I could only sit on the shore, crying my eyes out, helpless. I felt so helpless. How could this be? My beautiful Mandy was gone. And I had saved myself? Why? Why couldn't it have been me, not her? Why? Lord, why? That was midnight, 50 years ago tonight. How's that for a toast? This has been a Reader's Theater production at Lakeshore Center for the Arts in Westfield, New York, as part of our one-act play competition. Visit our site at lakeshorecenterforthearts.com for additional information.